It's the Craggy Rugby Podcast. I'm Rob Murphy, Connacht 19, Benetton Treviso 17. That's it for this week's show. We'll talk to you in a week. No, I'm only messing. Here's William.
It's not far off that, actually, Rob.
Alan Deegan.
I've nothing to say after that.
Well, you both have big paychecks that you have to collect on this podcast, so you have to talk for a while.
Well, my paycheck is the fact that
Hang on. He's just lost his paycheck. Oh, a serious fine. Oh, it's Lindley. Oh, that's allowed.
Hi, Lindley.
You're on loudspeaker live on the podcast. How are you?
Oh, hi, how are you? I have a quick question. Is that all right?
Yes, go for it. Hopefully we can use it in the podcast. Go for it.
I noticed Danny had said that means we'll get Champions Cup next year, but does it?
No, it doesn't, because we needed a bonus point. I'm fairly convinced we needed a bonus point to get Champions Cup.
You see, because because I was just looking at the thing, and Cardiff, they get another 15 points. They're on 41, and we're on 41.
Correct. So a bonus point tonight would have guaranteed it. If we finish on the same number of points, it probably would be enough to get you there unless Edinburgh or Scarlets outpace you. And then if you have two teams on 41 and somebody's on 42, I don't know, there'll be a playoff game.
So there you have it. And it was me as well. I said in the commentary, just to doubly confuse you, Lindley, while we chat off air, I'm going to go to some highlights from the game. At the base goes Paul Boyle, bursting away from the scrum, and Connacht are inside the 22 as he's taken down. Very good from Boyle. Really good support line from Marmion in the sense that he got to the ruck, picked it up and went, and the ball is presented superbly well. And Oisin Dowling is alive as he has been throughout the whole game to pick and go. Now Beelum, he has a try in the first half. He's looking for another try. He loves scoring tries at this venue. He's nearly over. He stopped just short. Connacht with 14 men looking for their second try of the game to get back into it. 14-7 they trail, having conceded 2 tries before half time. They're almost over the line. Stopped and in short. Underneath the post. Benetton being told to get on the line. Paul Boyle with Beelum. Benetton didn't get on the line. Connacht are trying to drive over. Beelum's driven back. It's a free play. Let's see what they want to do. Marmion was thinking of taking it out. Paddy McAllister's gone over and he's been pulled back around the neck. I think he got the ball down.
There is no evidence of a clear loss of possession of the ball. For me, the player is in possession of the ball and he grounds the ball correctly.
Okay, so no knock on, try.
And the line out 5 metres from the Benetton line. They've struggled to hit the man in the line out. Murphy looks a little bit nervous on that one, but Benetton don't go up and challenge. Dowling is the target. He's got it, and Maul is set. It's going infield. It looks really uncontrolled at the moment as it's bursting at pace. Connacht are trying to set it up. Benetton have come through on it. I'm not sure Connacht have the ball where they want it. Now they do. Aki's at the back. Aki needs to make use of it. One stop, says the referee. Connacht are still driving forward. Same Maul, says the referee. That's brilliant from Aki to keep that in the base. Now Connacht are going over the line. Aki gets down. They've got the try. Connacht have rescued the game with 20 seconds to go. That is game, set and match. Nigel, I'll start with you. That was a war of attrition and probably a really, really relieved dressing room after that one.
Yeah, I'm not going to say never in doubt. I said, we talk about a war of attrition. It was extremely tough, a lot tougher than the lads had anticipated. But but I suppose you look back in Treviso, and the results that they've had over the last number of games. I know they haven't won, but I think they've lost 5 or 6 times, in the last minute. And I think, again, 5 or 6 of them have been one-score games. So it was nothing different. They threw the kitchen sink at it. And we had a lot of chances maybe in the first half, and we just struggled to get a foothold into their half in the second half.
Yeah, and what was your kind of thought process as to the way you started the second half was very, very impressive. And as you said, for about 20 minutes, between about the 50th and the 70 minutes, you couldn't get control of the game. What did you think went wrong, and why weren't you able to get kind of a little bit of a foothold, territory and possession?
Well, you could do a number of things. You can run it into that zone, but there's a risk in that because, one, the way the game has been reffed and the breakdowns, and they're pretty hard over the ball, so there's a risk running it from your own half. And we were looking then at just to basically count the numbers in the backfield and if the space, try and kick it long. But when we were kicking it long, they were kicking it back longer again. And we found ourselves back in our 22. And then any contestants we found that they were winning them as well. So there's a number of things you can do, but we felt none of them were necessarily working for us. But the key was we knew we were going to get a break. We knew there was, we were going to get one opportunity, and all we needed was that one. And look, with a few minutes to go, I think we overshot the line out. But even still, we still knew we were going to get one more chance. And, and fair play to the lads at the end, even after that 30 minutes of, as you call it, war of attrition, they found a way to grind it out and win the game.
Bundyaki did very well at the back of that maul, technically, to keep the ball in. Was that as complicated as it looked, or do you feel like that was a smooth process all around?
With Bundy joining the maul?
Yeah, just that the way you control that maul at the end. Was it always in control? Was it exactly what you wanted?
Yeah, they were, because it was starting to swing. It was starting to swing, and all they did was they straightened it back up again. And every time it was swinging, they straightened it back up again. And then they were able to get the surge. When Bundy joined it, I think he was being pulled along rather than pushing it, really. But I think he might take the kudos off for that last one. I don't know.
He'd be happy having given away the penalty. I guess I have to ask you as well. It's funny from our perspective. You had to feel sorry for Benetton as well. How do you kind of balance that? When you see it on the plane going home and rewatch the video, you understand as a coach how tough it must be for them.
Yeah, it's extremely tough, and we spoke about that afterwards. And look, it's extremely hard for them. It's been a really tough season, and and there's no easy way to sugarcoat it. But I suppose we got to look after ourselves, and
of course,
we're in our own little battle at the in our conference, and again, if they stay with it and they keep playing like the way they did, like their luck is going to turn at some stage. They're a really tough team considering the number of players that they have missing. They play a really good, expansive brand of rugby, and I said they've got a lot of threats right across their team. So at some stage, it'll break for them and it'll turn.
Yeah, 5 away wins in a row now, and you're surely allowed one scrappy one along the way in that kind of situation. It is a good momentum in terms of going into Munster, especially off the back of 3 wins in the competition itself as well.
Winning is way more important tonight, and look at especially away from home. Again, I guess what we consider to be a good side there tonight. So, look, we're happy that again to take the points, not maximum. I think we had enough chances. We probably could have, but just to win the game, we're happy enough with.
Kieran, when you got that try after half-time, the team got that try, it was a really good start to the second half. Does it surprise you the way the game panned out after that? Did you have a sense going back that maybe you could have started to build on that and kick on, but it just didn't happen really, did it?
I think we came out and did exactly what we wanted to straight after half-time. Probably a bit disappointing not to kick on from that try. Treviso played well, in fairness to them. They put us in under pressure. They pinned us in our half. So, obviously we would have liked to kick on, but credit to Treviso. They handled it well as well.
What was it like out there? What makes them so hard to play against?
I thought their backfield was pretty good. They played the ball long, and then they ran it as well at times, and they stressed us there. So they had a good mix between kicking and running, but just happy at the end to come through.
Just interested in terms of the on-field chat. Did you feel like it wasn't going well for you? Did the group as a whole, was there a sense of we need to get things right? Were you getting frustrated out there?
I don't think we were getting frustrated. We just had to be patient. We knew Treviso would go through patches of playing well. And I thought we handled that pretty well. We stayed patient, and the opportunity came in the last minute and we took it.
And just taking that opportunity, Connacht have got a lot of criticism for missing chances to win games in the closing stages. So that must be a real confidence boost that you got the job done. Yeah,
I think just shows we've come along. It's good composure by the lads on there in that pressure situation. So, we can take confidence from that.
How big is this game against Munster next week, Kieran?
They're all big. I think if we win, it definitely closes the gap on them, and that's what we want to do. So, massive in terms of our season.
Well, as you join us again here, you would have heard Lindley on the brief cameo performance on the podcast. Unexpected. She didn't even know she was on, just highlighting a little error in the continuity of whether Connacht had officially qualified for the Champions Cup. At this point in time, as we record this, which is just about 8:10, it is currently 0-0 between Cardiff and Munster. So I don't think our listeners will be too upset by the fact that we didn't get to wait around until that match ended to talk about this. But unless Cardiff are to get 5 points, this, listeners already, Connacht are through to the Champions Cup. But there you go. We've explained ourselves. You've heard a bit of the game. It was all about that last minute try. They didn't go for the draw, which I think was the right decision.
I don't think it would have made...
Obviously it was the right decision, but even if it went wrong, it would have been happy enough with it.
Yeah, I think the way they'd set up to play, plus I'm not sure if Fitzgerald would have kicked it because he missed the conversion. He didn't have a very good night, so I think, go again. You thought they only were going to get one chance and the line-out fell apart, but I'm afraid Benetton They just did exactly what they did against Munster a few weeks ago, and they gave Connacht another go, and this time they got it right.
Nigel Carolan did say that. They did expect to have one chance. Our listeners have just heard him saying that. Go on.
Yeah, I was going to say, it wasn't just Benetton. It was a wily piece of play from a wily old operator in Dennis Buckley.
Okay, describe this. Right, so what we know is Benetton were trying to kill the clock in their own 22. Not necessarily visible, but anyways, that's what they did. And it went wrong. But when it went wrong, they got isolated, and you're going to explain why.
Yeah, what they did, Dennis went up to make a tackle and looked as though, I have to go back and look at this again, but I'm going to claim it here. He looked as though he allowed the player to get past him, which got the player isolated. And the next two Connacht players were there ready and jackaled in on top of him. But it was Dennis Buckley who had been tackling well all night and hadn't missed a tackle all night. And it all of a sudden just seems to let a guy drift past him for some reason. And that's the reason why. And it is a clever way of isolating a ball carrier, because if he's gone too far and his support players can't get to him, you're going to turn the ball over.
There was an energy about that. I'll go to you first now, William. That was different than the whole game. It's like Connacht's experience just kicked in, and the energy about that whole situation, they just went, hang on, these guys are panicking, we can figure this out. And I think that transformed then into the line out where they were right, okay, we're in control of this. So they didn't feel, I don't think Connacht felt as under pressure on that last line out as they did in previous match winning situations.
No, I think they would have looked at that Benetton throwing the game away against Munster a couple of weeks back and believing, it came to a matter of belief, they believed that they could do it, and in the end they did.
This is what it feels like to be on the Munster side of things about 15 years ago when they used to do this all the time. You know, we know what it was like back in the day when Connacht used to go on losing streaks. We remember Eric Elwood's Connacht having such an incredible work rate, commitment, determination, but going on this unbelievable heartbreaking run. There was an amazing documentary of that. We know all about it. We know what it's like. And teams, as Alan is pointing out, one team after the other gets this feeling against you and senses the fear.
It is fear. And brains just get numb. And, you know, it's a hard thing to address. It's important to look at it from Benetton's perspective, because a better side than Benetton wouldn't make that mistake, so Connacht would have had to go at it differently. Now, Connacht could have made a mess of that second line-out, because the first line-out was a bit of a shambles, but Benetton decided not to attack it. Connacht got the drive on, Connacht got the points, and they'll see that as a steal, and they're on it. I mean, we can criticise them. If people think we're hard when we criticise them, there's nothing to what will be going on Monday morning when they're sitting down, and Andy Friend will have had all weekend at home in Galway where he's got a bit of a knee injury, and he'll be going through this with the other coaches, and then the Zoom meeting will happen, and whoever has control of the screen from the coach's perspective will have a lot of things to show them that were wrong.
I would pretend if I was a player, I'm sorry guys, the broadband's really bad, my camera's not working, I'm sorry.
I think there's so many of them, I don't think they're allowed to have cameras, because there's about 60 people sitting on.
You still have to listen.
You still have to listen and answer when if you're asked a question.
What were you thinking there will be a question that will be a hard answer.
Yeah, exactly. And then you park it and you move on, because they've got to get ready for Munster. You can't keep dwelling on this. And they still won. And it's a hell of a good skill to play really poorly. And they did play poorly, because Benetton bring very little to the table. But Connacht tonight weren't able to bring enough to really put the pressure on them.
Do you know what it reminds me of? Because I feel good about Connacht at the moment. I feel like there's just, obviously, why wouldn't you, second in the standings, but just particularly good with the Challenge Cup news, which we'll talk about in a second, and something to look forward to, and this sense that they're just above the rest of the team. It reminds me of these international situations when there's a World Cup qualifier and Ireland are going reasonably well, and they play dreadful against someone like Cyprus, but you win 2-1, and you're just like, oh, just delighted they got the points. And I think I would speak for a lot of Connacht fans. A lot of Connacht fans would be genuinely, really lifted by just looking at the table and going, whew. I don't think there's going to be a lot of frustration at that performance, because it doesn't really fit any pattern. It was just one of those nights where it didn't go right. But last week was good. No reason why next week can't be good.
Well, it certainly needs to be better than tonight.
Of course it does. I mean, that's going to come up so much. If they play like that, they're going to lose 45-0. They just are.
Yeah, but then they're not going to play on ground as quite as hard. They're not going to play in weather quite as warm.
They love that though, don't they? Or they didn't though.
They do, but you still have to acclimatise to it. They've only had a day to acclimatise to something that they haven't had in nearly 9 months. I know they're professionals.
William has a sceptical face on. Will we go to him for a second?
It wasn't that warm over there.
It was 16 degrees at kickoff, and they were all sweating. I haven't seen our lads sweating like that after 5 minutes of a game. They were all absolutely...
And William said they were drying the ball for that last line out because there was dew there.
Yeah,
It could have been quite, even at 16 degrees, it could be quite humid.
Very much so. And if you're not used to it, it takes a lot out of the lungs. Having said that...
Now, William.
Having said that, we lost the kicking battle. I thought, I'm assuming Nigel said it, that it get into a kicking battle, and we lost it.
Yeah.
Like we almost lost the game because we lost the kicking battle. And I'd like to have seen us hold on to the ball a little bit more than we did, because when we did, as William talked during the commentary, you just have to hold on and recycle 4 or 5 times. And after the 5th or 6th, you should get the mismatches that we were able to get last week, and you should have been able to recreate them this week. 3
things from the kicking battle that just highlight how bad we did. 1, Alex Wootton forgot to mark the ball. 2, Conor Fitzgerald, when we're down 14 men with 3 minutes to go to half time, in possession in the Treviso half of the field, decided to do a crossfield kick that barely went 3 metres forward, went about 25 metres lateral, and was easily lapped up, and it led to a turnover and led to trouble. And 3, it was a box kick Derry owned by a man who should be able to know better. Kieran Marmion barely went 5 metres, completely caught everyone offside. Everyone went in front of the kicker, and that was a really costly one as well. So I'm just saying, my God, kicking battle. Alan says it. I just want to really emphasise the kicking was dreadful tonight.
Yeah, there didn't seem to be a real plan to the kicking. There didn't seem to be an understanding of what they were trying to achieve, and it became aimless. There was also a bizarre situation. Was it Paul Boyle in the first half where he tried to do the right thing, was to catch the ball with his foot.
Oh, yeah. That's good.
His foot in touch, because it was a very poor kick by Benetton. But unfortunately, as he caught the ball, he lifted his foot and then he put it down again and was surprised, and then he understood that he'd actually given them a line. It was just the sort of performance that maybe if you're not correctly at the pitch of the game, you think, look, we'll find a way. And they did find a way.
Oh, yeah.
Important.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing about finding a way is you really want to be finding a way in about the 73rd minute.
Yeah.
That's when you want to close it. You don't...
It was a bit James Bond-esque, wasn't it? It was a bit like the whole thing is about to close in on top of him, and then just at the very end he gets out.
Yeah, and
you don't want to be at that stuff.
No, because that won't work for you the next time. I guarantee you, if you get caught in a game...
It does for James Bond, but probably not for Connacht.
No, it works for Munster a lot, but maybe they're James Bond in disguise.
That's what it means. Yeah, I'm curious, William, because you said all week, and Alan, you come in on this then. You said all week, banana skin. If I want to count how many times he said banana skin in podcasts and interviews, because at least 12. And they said it. And what did Pete Wilkins say? They're going to kick a lot. We know they're going to kick a lot. It's almost like we may as well have just not said anything all week. We may as well have just sat in the room, not even knowing who we were playing, because all the talk didn't matter, did it? All the thought didn't matter.
No, it didn't, and a better side than Connacht wouldn't have got... I'm thinking Leinster wouldn't have got sucked into a game like that, and I'm tempted to think even Ulster wouldn't have got sucked in.
But Munster did.
Yeah, but they do, though.
That's
what they do.
Yeah, that's almost part of their DNA.
But they wouldn't lose 3 games like we did over Christmas, which is like,
it's just one of those ones. I think they will. I hope they will learn from this.
Is there learnings from this? It's not one of these, like, a big thing I hear in American sports is like, throw the video away, throw the DVD away. These days it's delete the cloud or whatever space that you have in the Dropbox. But will they? Did they? Yeah.
Yeah, I think they will. I think only they will know when they start digging down. Only the players know in their own minds what mindset they had coming into the game. And it's not really about the coaches. It's about when the players are on their Zoom calls or their WhatsApp chats when they're doing that. Somebody will have to say, what happened there, lads? Why, they can talk about, Benetton are very physical. Yeah, right. Next. That doesn't mean anything. And they do this and they kept us out of the 22. Well, yeah, because you didn't hold on to the ball long enough to get in there. When you do start digging down on it, the players will go, yeah, that just wasn't good enough, and they got away with it. But most teams in the Pro 14, if you played like that, you wouldn't get away with it. They'd win.
I'm just worried. I'm worried about Conor Fitzgerald at the moment, if I'm being honest. I think we know there's a lot of talent there, but he didn't put a stamp of authority on that game. And I think his emotion at the end, jumping up and down for the try, I think that only revealed the sense of pressure that he was probably feeling at that point in time.
Yeah, and he hasn't had a whole lot of rugby.
Okay.
That's part of it as well. Like, this season has been such a mess in all sorts of ways for the obvious reasons that he hasn't played in too much rugby. Like, he's getting a game every second or third week if he's lucky. So it was great to see him get the full 80 minutes.
Are you happy that now that it's turned out okay, do you feel it's good that he was on to the 80?
Yeah, I do, because it it paid off in the end. He put the ball in the corner. He gave them enough chance to get it close enough to get a 5-metre line out, having missed one in the first half, which was kind of worrisome. But he held his nerve. He put the ball in the right place twice, and so we'll pick a lot from it. I think this game they'll just go, yeah, we got away with it. Move on.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. All right, let's finish the podcast. Let's just say a couple of things. One, I'm kind of buzzing about the Challenge Cup. We've been talking about this for a while, right? It's the dream scenario. It's like you want to be in the Challenge Cup because you feel like Connacht could do something in it, but you don't want to lose Champions Cup status because you have to admit at this stage is the only way we can make a case why our players should be in Ireland, because the second we're not in Champions Cup, we're shot away down completely. Your guys aren't playing at that level. Well, they are, and they still don't get picked, but anyways, whatever. Point is, this is great. They get just one little shot at this competition and they should be right in there in the mix with a number of teams. Favourites? No. Contenders? Possibly.
It'll depend on the draw. They'll need a home draw. If they get drawn away to an English club, we're not going to do very well, because we never do very well. I can just see it. The one club that we're probably going to get is the only club we've never played against, English club, and that's Leicester, which would mean away in Welford Road, one of the most iconic grounds in English rugby, and we won't be able to go if they do manage to get there.
No, yeah, unless we can figure out some sort of, I don't know, 14 days. So maybe if we promise to stay in our car until we get to no, let's not even go there.
Take the ferry.
Take the ferry. Oh, definitely take the ferry. William is shaking his head there.
It's not going to make any difference, I'm afraid, lads.
Well, ferries are very fast. Got me with the day when we used to travel. We'd be currently, where would we be in the beautiful Treviso right now?
We'd be heading back into town and be going to the pizzeria in the Palazzo outside the hotel.
You'd have booked a table already?
I would have booked a table and we would be sitting there, and we might even have allowed ourselves a little glass of red lemonade.
Oh yeah, that would be lovely. Of course, knowing your plan, we'd be up at 7:30 in the morning for the flight home, William.
Well, you took that option the last time we were in Treviso, Rob.
True.
I actually managed to have a full day in Venice and fly home in the evening.
I feel like I kicked down to William's 22 and he kicked back so far. I'm running back into my 22.
I believe Mayo were playing in a Munster. Were they playing a Munster under-21 game in Limerick or something?
They were probably playing an under-21 game in Limerick.
I was a Munster, yeah.
Oh, yeah, but do you know, I think it was the All-Ireland final.
Well, fair enough, okay.
There you go.
Let's have a look at who we might play.
Yeah, it sounds way more interesting.
Because we can't, in the round of 16 at Easter, we cannot play a Pro 14 side because there are other Pro 14 sides in the Challenge Cup now. So we can play London Irish or Leicester, and if we get either of them, we have to go away.
Because they did well in the Challenge Cup. So for the top four in Challenge Cup, the three unbeaten sides in the Challenge Cup, they've granted home advantage no matter what happens with them in the draw. And
the other one of those is actually the Ospreys, believe it or not.
We can't get them.
We can't get them at this stage. Then we could, if it's a French side, Agen or Montpellier, we could go there, or they could come to Galway. Or we could have Bath, Newcastle, Northampton, or Harlequins. And that could be at those grounds, or it could be in Galway. It all depends. And I believe they are going to draw the quarter-final scenarios on the 9th of March. So we would know who would play in the quarter-final. And at that stage, we could play even Ulster.
That'd be exciting.
It would be exciting, and that again you'll know if you're home or away. That's purely open draw. So let's just hope the draw gods are on our side.
Yeah, fair enough. Anyways, I feel like we're still in. I feel like it's something to look forward to because we're not really going to be into contention final. And as we wrap this up, we're really starting to feel like Pro 14 are like, to save face, we're going to just finish this competition like we said we would. So as we speculated for quite some time about potential of maybe they'll extend this, maybe there'll be playoffs. I don't think there will be now. So that should mean Champions Cup position should be secured in the next game, if not by the time you listen to this. And yeah, from there, I guess top two, you want to finish second and you want to go to Thomond Park and win for the first time since 2016. That'd be nice. Keep it interesting to the last day.
Well, like if currently Cardiff are winning that game against Munster, so if they were to lose that and we were to go down and win in Munster first time since 2016, we would be in a chance of getting first position, which is not something we've managed to do ever, because even when we did win the championship, we finished second.
A game that's immortalised in my commentary memory for one of the best tries we ever scored, and as it was touchdown, the commentary went off, and I have to admit now, if I haven't admitted it publicly, that I may have stood up and knocked the commentary box, and I think that's what knocked it off for a split second. I have to admit that.
Well, we were on the other side myself and William were actually doing our stuff from the which side of the field were we? I can't remember. We were in the stand.
Where the club, where the dressing rooms are, at the far side from where we were.
Yeah, we were on the terrace with a whole load of Munster fans behind us who, up to that point, couldn't believe that we were anywhere close to them. But when that try went in, just basically went, wow. You know, and it was a fantastic try, and they appreciated the brilliance of the try.
For me, it's the best ever interprovincial away performance I've ever seen. To go there, because it was such a hard place to win. I know Dave Finn is currently falling off his chair. It's not the best ever win. Obviously, that was, but it's the best ever performance, and it was just such a hard place to go, and it was such a dominant display. And it's the Bundy Aki pumping his chest, and I just wonder, are the stars aligning right now for Aki to hit game 3 of his kind of return to himself at just the right time?
Yeah, I would hope so. It's I said in the commentary, it's a fascinating thing that he basically asked to go back to Connacht. He feels that he's not going to get a fair go at Ireland. Not a fair go, but he's not going to get a go at Ireland until he gets more game time, because he's not showing enough in training because he hasn't played.
And we've seen with our own eyes, we're bloody annoyed at certain selections from Andy Farrell, some of us. I am, anyways. But like, we've seen anyone who's complained about Bundy Aki, you can see with your own eyes, he's not there. He's not at the level of where Gary Ringrose or where Gary Ringrose or Robbie Henshaw are. And
No, and he's realised that. But you see, he's a 30-cap international. So he's got the ability to make that decision and make a case. If you've only played 5 or 6 games, you're going to be wanting to stay there and hold the tackle bag and do whatever you're asked to do.
Like Ultan Dillane, who got dropped inexplicably because he does well off the bench against France, and then this is what's driving us insane. I mean, not a lot of Connacht players are making a strong enough case. I'll accept that. But
even Rhys Ruddock was fantastic.
Yeah, oh my God.
Like, he was brilliant.
If Rhys Ruddock had gone to the country of his father, he would be a Welsh rugby legend at the moment. They absolutely love that. Here, I mean, he's how many back row forwards have lost their place in Leinster and had to go elsewhere because he's that good? You ask Leinster fans, they're driven mental by the way Rhys Ruddock is treated by Ireland. So it's not just us who complain.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not one of these. You know, I don't care where the players are from.
Yeah, exactly.
I just want them the best players on the field. And when a guy comes up and plays as well as that guy did, and the stats back it up, it wasn't just what you were watching. The stats backed everything up. He's not even in the squad. What the hell is that?
It's baffling. It's his whole career. I'd have made the point. He's also a rare thing. He's an unbeaten Ireland captain. He's captained 7 times and he's won 7 times. And
he should be an absolute superstar.
Yeah, he has had a lot of injuries and he accepts that. And he talks about that himself. But he's a proper hard man.
Yeah.
International sport decisions are, I suppose, because it's Italy, they want to get a look at this back row. I'm interested in this back row because I think it's going to be very mobile, but it's not a back row that I put out against England because I think it'll be taken apart. Against Italy, it could run riot. Will Connors, and I think Tadhg Byrne is an interesting one. They've maybe realised he isn't the answer at second row. Maybe he's a back row cover. It's getting tough for Ireland. It's getting tough. There's a lot of pressure on Mike Catt as well. There's a lot of question marks when they start pushing him out to do interviews to explain what he's doing. That's when you begin to think, that's a bit of an isolation thing.
He did well, in fairness. He seems a confident sort.
So it
doesn't matter because all he's going to judge on is whether we can get our attack right.
They've got 3 games left and the pressure is on them. They've a tough. Tomorrow could be a tough game if they don't get it right. Bit like
keep in mind, like, people will have seen the game by the time we talk, but we were just giving a bit of context around, like Alan's nailed it. Like, I don't care if there's no Connacht players in there, right? It's just we know our players inside out. And when you see what's happened to Ultan Dillane, does it mean Dillane actually is the best backup second? I'm not sure. Baird's pretty good, isn't he? I mean, it's not a shock. I would put Gavin Dornbury ahead of him. Yeah, he's done a lot more in Champions Cup rugby than Baird has. And so, that's fine. But whatever division, it's mind-boggling that Dillane could be removed after being trusted against France and doing a job off the bench that we feel is really good. So that's what leaves us absolutely mesmerised. Who knows? And Jack Carty, don't even get me started. Enough of that. On we go. More podcasts to come this week.
There is. I'm still gutted with my decision to back Shane Delahunt, who was due a try for this game. And
why didn't you back Finlay beat him?
I'll tell you why, because I put the money on and then I double checked my stats and realised Finlay had scored twice, the last twice that they'd played in February in Treviso, and he'd scored. I went, oh no, the money was already on. And I went, oh, no, I'm not going to chase it. And so I've taken the hit.
Rule 1, Alan, never change your bet.
Never change your bet, is that it?
There was a time.
Bet responsibly.
Absolutely. There was a time you could get somebody like Finlay at about 90-1 to be first try scorer. Those days are gone. The bookies are not as generous as they were.
Dennis Buckley is there now these days. I'd say they get very nervous about those mauls as well. Enough of that. We're out here.
95 games since he scored his last try, which was against Benetton.
Interesting enough. And by the way, we hadn't played them since 2018. I feel like throwing that stat in at the end is very nerdy. Okay.
We haven't played them over there. We played them in December.
That's what I meant. We hadn't played them over there since 2018. Yes, I need to clarify that. Okay. Well, hopefully soon enough we'll be back in that pizzeria and the world will be a normal place again. In the meantime, the world is always normal on your podcast feed when it comes to Craggy Rugby. Nothing changes. We're reliable. We're as reliable as the sun rising in the morning. That's it from us. We'll be back during the week with a podcast preview show. Alan at the helm, and then back next Friday, isn't it? What time's kick off for the Munster match?
7:35 p.m, so slightly better kick-off time than this evening for everybody, really.
I like getting home to my bed early, but it just doesn't feel right.
No, it was a bit of an odd one, and proper kick-off time.
Okay, all right, that's it from us. We'll talk to you soon, folks. Thanks for listening. There's another version of this podcast that's 2.5 minutes long. Bye.
Loose, cut it loose. Break out, or nothing changes. Sad and confused. Don't wait until